The Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane, speaking at a provincial day of mourning in Mthatha, said scores of learners have been impacted. Mabuyane said progress has been made in the restoration of critical infrastructure, particularly water supply systems. For more on this, we're joined now by Sharon Maasdorp, Eastern Cape Department of Education, HOD. Sharon, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on. The collective action that is required, how far is this extending? I believe the 400 schools is a representation of the entire number in the province, but what are the degrees of damage?
Good afternoon, Thabo. Let me first start off by thanking you for affording us this opportunity. Let me also pass my condolences to all the bereaved families in our province. Yes, Thabo, it has been devastating in our province and it really affected us as the Department of Education. Since the start of the disaster, we actually communicated to our schools and said to our schools, if you are aware of any disasters that has taken place with regards to infrastructure, please through our rapid response notify us. And we had 413 schools responding to us to say there has been some sort of infrastructure damage, whether it's the roof, whether it's some classrooms that has been destroyed. But what we have done, because we needed to be more precise in the reports we receive from schools, so then we requested our teams from the districts, our work inspectors to go and visit the 413 sites. Then we discovered, Thabo, that actually we've got far less than the 413 sites, and it's more 435 sites. The other sites that has been registered is sites of previous disasters that has taken place in the province. So this has given us then now a picture to work on 235 schools. I must indicate not all of them has been badly damaged. Yes, in most cases the roof, in some cases some classrooms has been damaged, but not the complete schools. However, Thabo, I need to raise this one. In some cases, our small and viable schools, they have been blown away completely. But they are those schools with your less than 135 learners, some of them even 35 learners, So what we've done as the department, especially in the cases of the small and viable schools, we immediately went to our nearby schools and we checked how we can accommodate those learners. And in most cases, those learners has been accommodated yet. Tomorrow, we're having a in-house in Daba on infrastructure. On Tuesday, we will meet our implementing agents where we will look more in depth at the 235 schools in terms of what is needed immediately. We all know when there's a disaster, Thabo, we can then show a very quick procurement processes to make sure we appoint an implementing agents, we appoint a contractor to assist us to deal with the devastating effects pertaining to the disasters and our infrastructure.
So you're saying that 235, not 413 or even more,
no,
but now
not
413. 235.
I think our schools, Thabo, when they wanted to seize the opportunity,
yes.
and they just forwarded the details. I also want to be honest with you, we do have infrastructure backlogs in the province. So hence the reports came in and say, also think about me, think about my school. But we need to be careful, Thabo, because some of those schools are due for rationalization and realignment. Approximately 159. We need to move to quality education. With our small and viable schools, we really don't have quality education in those schools. We really need communities to come alongside us and support us in closing those schools.
But where we sit now, including the small unviable schools where you would have taken, I suppose, those less than 135 or less than 35 into other facilities, where we sit now, there is no school that has not resumed teaching and learning?
At the moment, Thabo, I would love to say this is our last week of the schools. We're having school holidays starting from this week. And according to my information, we have managed to move most of our learners. In Amatola East District, one of our districts, there were still 2 schools, you know, trying to make sure they move those learners successfully. We're also trying, Thabo, not to have challenges with scholar transport. So we looked in terms of the nearest school to the learners with very less disruption to the learners, and also really also not to try to incur costs with scholar transport. My last information is that by tomorrow we will sit with districts and just pick up, is there any learner that has not been attended yet? Thabo, also from our side, we have many learners that did not write agricultural science and economics. So our focus tomorrow is really on our matriculants to grant them that opportunity to write. So hence we have made all arrangements for those learners to sit. We've got approximately, with agricultural science, more than 8,000 learners, and also with economics, over 3,500 learners. So our focus was really to make sure we prepare those learners and we provide them with an opportunity. Yes, tomorrow is the day where we will sit with our district directors, with our infrastructure, just to look and to see, is there any learner we have left out?
Yeah.
Is there any area where we need to give an attention to?
Yeah. So already with an infrastructure backlog, which you've admitted to, you now have 235 that generally do have some sort of damage, be it a roof, be it a classroom here and there. Is there budget to be able to cover the backlog and cover this new damage that you've got to deal with now?
Thabo, we have 2 types of funding. We have our infrastructure grant funding that is dealing with maintenance and big projects. Then also we have our norms and standard budget that is dealing with minor refurbishments at schools. For example, a block toilet, switching on a light, the locks, and so on. So we have these type of budgets. Yes, you probably are very much aware for the past 2 to 3 years, we did not have a problem in surrendering our budget to our national treasury. And we're really picking up as the Department of Education. Yes, we do not have enough, but because it's a national disaster, as a department, we form part of the broader departments in the province where we needed to submit our data to the province, to COCTA, to indicate this is all the disaster-related infrastructure needs. Can you kindly assist? And I think because the province has been declared as a disaster province, our national government will look in terms of how much funds they can give to each department in order to assist us to deal with the infrastructure challenges. But as far as possible, we will look and see how can we augment our grant and how can we use what we have available to make sure we deal with infrastructure. As I indicated, Thabo, 159 of those schools are due to be rationalized, So this will basically assist us. The reason why we're taking so long is because of the resistance at times from the community. A community will say, look, there's 5 kilometers, my child is too small, rather keep this place here so that I can accommodate my child closer to the home, which is understandable. I'm also a parent, but we need to look in terms of quality education for that learner. You have probably picked up the past few years that we are immensely proud of our rural districts in terms of our grade 12 performance, and we really want to pick up in our rural areas and give our learners the best.
Now, in terms of the large number, I mean, even if we're saying the 135 or 159 or so would be needing to be rationalized anyway, you still have a good 100 or even more schools that need to be looked into, right? In terms of the rapid response or disaster response, does that mean you would be looking for service providers outside of the province, or do you have enough within the province who are reputable, who have been vetted, and who can deliver?
Tabo, we are working with our implementing agents. They are government departments. For example, Public Works is one of our implementing agents. So it will be Public Works. It will be your Kucha. It will be, your Amatola water if you need waters. They are all part of being our implementing agents, and they are within the province. And we are obliged to work with them. They have been created by government for us to work with government to make sure they support us. So the procedure is we will meet with the implementing agents. The implementing agents got their own procurement processes where they will then also procure the services of construction companies. We would like to keep it in the province. We know our province is having a high unemployment rate. So we would like to make sure we create those opportunities for our people within the province. So part of our discussions with the implementing agents will be, please look closer to the area if there's anybody with the skills that can help, that can assist, also to give our people that opportunity to work and to earn an income.
Sounds to me that this might be caught up in some bureaucratic red tape, although you're saying it will be rapid in terms of disaster management standards, but the various consultation processes, the various intergovernmental processes that need to happen, it does look like we'll be reporting some schools that maybe even for a couple of months still would be telling us that they are in a mess.
Tabo, for us is really to make sure that we provide opportunities for our learners, starting from the opening of schools. Hence, my meeting with my districts for the next 2 days will be very important to make sure that we accommodate all our learners. One thing that I can also say about our communities, Tabo, when you look at education, we've managed to get the trust of our communities in our education system for the past few years, And what I've picked up is that our communities are not difficult. They will come alongside us. And we're working with the churches. So even if it means we need to use some churches, we need to use some of our halls, which we have done in the past, we will do it as long as we make sure our learners are receiving tuition and our learners are receiving the necessary report. We cannot disappoint the department now. We're on the rise with our matric results. So hence, I'm confident that our communities, our churches, our stakeholders will come alongside us to support us to make sure we accommodate our learners. So even if we are not very fast, as you indicated, there might be some red tapes. Tabo, I can surely indicate in some cases, yes, you do pick up a lot of red tapes, but because it's a disaster, we have the leeway to work with provincial treasury in terms of the procurement processes. It's much faster than in the normal process. It's for us as a department to write to provincial treasury to say to them, these are our 235, this is the financial situation, and this is the budget we are currently having, or we are awaiting a budget, but this is what we can do. Can you allow us to continue? It's normally a fast process because the province has been declared a disaster province.
Sharon, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for your intervention this afternoon. Sharon Maasdorp, HOD for the Department of Education in the Eastern Cape.